Halt!
Everything all right, Captain?
Quite all right, my lord. Just a stray sin eater, and a weak one at that.
I see. Weak or not, we should be on the lookout for more. But I see you've met my guest. I will escort her to the Crystarium myself, if you've no objections.
Another of your mysterious friends, is it? I should have known. Very well. I'll inform the others your guest is to be given the run of the city. Pray forgive my less than cordial welcome. May the rest of your stay with us be a pleasant one.
Come with me. I will answer whatever questions you have when we are somewhere more private. Right then, before we plunge into the wheres and wherefores, let me first thank you for answering my summons. I had intended to bring you directly to my personal quarters, but I fear my aim was slightly off. That you were still able to make the crossing unharmed is a great relief. And so, we come to the question of where. The realm in which you now find yourself belongs to one of the 13 reflections, or shards. The first, to be precise, even if its inhabitants are largely oblivious to the fact. As to wherefore, having been awarded the rather grandiose title of Crystal Exarch, I, in my capacity as caretaker of the Crystarium, thought to seek the aid of you and your companions. That is a question with no simple answer. But all shall be explained in due course, I promise you. Let us begin with the glaring skies up above. Here in the first, the world has been all but consumed by primordial light. It began a century ago, by this realm's reckoning. A luminous flood swallowing everything in its path. More than 9/10 of this star was lost. And the fortunate few who survived are hounded by abominations born of that catastrophe even now. Sin Eaters, we call them. The creature you saw earlier was one such monstrosity. It was to save the first from this menace that I learned to bridge the rift between worlds, that I might call upon the aid of the greatest of heroes. Though it meant depriving a world of its champion, I had to try, for in saving the first, you would bring salvation to the source as well. But what manner of host harangues his guests in the middle of the road? Let us continue our talk within the Crystarium.
such a proud and vibrant city. The sole sanctuary for the living in a world all but resigned to oblivion. Each stone was laid with hope. The town itself a symbol, a monument to defiance in the face of death. No would-be hero could fail to answer its call. For who among us does not yearn for salvation?
The future is where my destiny awaits. Forgive me, I was lost in a dream. I needed some fresh air and thought to rest for a moment. It would seem I am more fatigued than I realized. Too much time away from the tower, I fear. It drains me, leaves my body frail and weak. Though, in truth, it is debatable whether I can still call this my body. When first I turned my mind towards the salvation of the world, I came to the conclusion that it would take many long years, many more than remain to me. And so I made myself one with the Crystal Tower, that I might live indefinitely. I am but an extension of it now, hence my weakness the farther I travel, and the longer I am away. It has been quite a journey. But thanks to you, the end is in sight. My wish will finally be fulfilled. How goes the construction effort? Then this may be the last moment we have to ourselves for a while. Come, sit with me. Tell me, when all of this is over, what will you do? In the 100 years they have existed, no one had come close to ridding us of even a single Light Warden. Yet already you yearn for the next challenge. You truly are a world apart from us all. But whatever it is you decide to do, I have every confidence that you will do well. For you have the strength to forge your own path. You will leave countless lives better than you found them, and the souls you touch will never forget your kindness. Then, in trying times, when you question your worth and your choices, they will raise their voices to remind you of the difference you have made. And thus will your deeds come to affirm your path. Remember this. When this is over, indeed. I once told you that there are things we can ill afford to lose. Things, I said, though in truth I spoke of a person. One who is unaware of the full extent of my plans. Though she deserves to know, I have good reason to keep my counsel. I have come to terms with this in my mind, yet my heart yearns to lay everything bare. For she is my inspiration, and I would give much and more for the chance to speak with her as friends, with no thought of concealment. Should she indulge me with her tales, I would regale her with my own. About my efforts in Northrend, perhaps. Though, ultimately, that tale is more yours than it is mine. Then, I would ask her about her next adventure. And if she should wish me to be a part of it, oh, how happy it would make me. Together we would travel the lands and cross the seas and take to the skies upon the eternal wind. My heart swells simply to imagine it. But all of this is contingent upon our victory in the coming battle. The people of this world have entrusted their hopes to us. We cannot fail them. Nor those who roused me from my slumber. Thank you for your company, my friend. Let us return to Amity.
If you had the strength to take another step, could you do it? Could you save our worlds? Take it. We fight as one. This world is not yours to end. This is our future. Pray excuse my late arrival.
Will Thancred and Reen not be joining us?
Nay, milady. With apologies to all, they beg leave to pursue their investigation of the Empty to its conclusion. Should matters here demand their presence, however, they did assure me that they would make themselves available.
Yes, of course. Then let us proceed. I think it best that you begin by providing a summary of Mistress Kryle's findings.
I suppose it was only to be expected that some change would occur.
Yet our souls seem unaffected, to my eye at least. How long they will remain so is another question. Kryle is right. It is imperative we find a way to return to the source.
Perhaps an explanation of the method by which I brought you here will yield some inspiration. Ere I begin, it must be noted that I am by no means a gifted mage. In order to employ powerful magics, I must rely upon the Crystal Tower and its boundless reservoirs of energy. The magic that summoned you was no exception. 'Tis a singular spell, adapted through painstaking effort from the technique that transported me to the First. To use an analogy, it works by cutting a hole in the fabric of reality. A hole tailored to the object of summoning. through which it and it alone may pass unscathed. Though I succeeded in creating said hole, I failed to latch onto my intended target. Instead of you, the spell found those close to you, and ended up summoning them in their incomplete state. I would not soon throw my life away, not after the lengths you and yours went to save it. And so long as I breathe, I will spare no effort to see you safely home. But should all else fail, and your lives be at stake, there remains one sure method.
Out! Oh, what was that for?
How can you even entertain such thoughts? You owe your life to the Warrior of Light, and you don't get to die unless she says so.
Your followers await your divine judgment.
What did you just...
If the two of you have finished, perhaps we could return to our discussion? Rather than dwelling upon the multiple failed attempts at transference, I think it would behoove us to focus on the solitary's success. I would draw your attention to the fact that our friend can travel between worlds possessed not only of her body and soul, but her personal effects besides. This is no different from the teleportation magics to which we are all accustomed. Magics that allow for the transportation of those inanimate objects one considers to be an extension of oneself.
Are you suggesting that simply by considering us her possessions, she could carry our souls back to the source upon her person?
Well, it would be nice if things were that simple for a change. But vague notions of ownership seem a rather tenuous thing to stake our lives on. So much as a moment of doubt on her part, and we'd be left floating in the rift.
Milady hath the right of it. The requisite fixity of belief would be too much to ask even of our friend. Yet were we to immure our souls within an object in her possession, mayhap then our safe passage could be assured. White Auracite would, I believe, serve as a suitable vessel for this purpose. It was conceived to imprison the massy soul of an Ascian, and should house one of ours with relative ease. We would need only to ensure our soul's safe preservation inside the stone, and identify a means by which they might be transferred back unto our vacant bodies.
Soul preservation and transference. I believe I know of someone who may be able to assist us. On the far shore of the source, there stands a great palace built by the elves. It was forsaken in the wake of the flood, but a certain Nummo chose to make their home there soon after. Though they have long lived as a recluse, they once occupied a place of honor in Verbert's royal court, and it is said that none in all of Norvrant is more knowledgeable than they on matters of the soul.
Well, I've no objection to seeking a helping hand, but if they've gone to such lengths to hide themselves away from the world, what makes you think they'd be willing to lend us one?
A worthy question. Years ago, I myself tried and failed to solicit their cooperation in the battle against the Sin Eaters. No sooner had I begun to make my plea than they unleashed a swarm of their familiars upon me. Unlike me, however, you have curried favor with the Fae Folk. By that merit alone, I am hopeful that they would grant you an audience. They may still be inclined to turn you away, of course, but if their knowledge might feasibly facilitate your return home, we have to try. keep climbing. Twas but a matter of time. I cannot keep up with you, nor will it avail us to make a stand here. You must go on without me. Find Elidibus and stop him. Worry not, my friend. Though I am no warrior, I have learned to hold my own over the years. When first we explored this tower, you and your fellow adventurers formed the van, while I was left to follow in your wake. Suffice it to say, I was not best pleased with the arrangement. How I wished that I could join you. And now I have, here where it all began. I was right to trust in you, and the power of your legacy, of your name, to let them guide my every deed.
For Elidibus is my name, and my mission, guiding my every deed.
Why you? Why not you? Had I chosen another, we would never have made it this far. Or do I mistake your meaning? Elidibus spoke in similar terms, you say? How curious. To answer your question, then, I made my choice for reasons which seemed obvious to me, but may not to any other. There were the expectations I placed upon myself before beginning my slumber, and the expectations of those who roused me. Of course, I had the choice to turn my back on a lot of it, but in the end, it was no choice at all. I cherish the time I spent with you and the others. What I wouldn't give to return to those halcyon days. Chasing ancient secrets, overcoming trial after trial with the aid of like-minded comrades. And what remarkable comrades they were. In such company, I felt as if I were a character in the epic tales that had stirred my heart as a boy. As if my dream had come true. It hadn't, of course, for I was no hero. Neither then nor after. Though the world to which I awakened and the first were beset with myriad problems, I rarely knew how best to play my part. There was, however, one thing of which I was certain, that I could not bear to let those dear to me meet a tragic end.
Memories of a possible future. Worthless. All. Worthless as memories of the only past. Fated to fray and fade into oblivion. Leaving naught but a gaping void. The Waking Sands. Yes, that was the place. The place I first made myself known to you and yours. The Seventh Rejoining had left the realm listing dangerously towards darkness, and events were unfolding that threatened to push it over the brink. Thus did I approach you in my capacity as emissary, thinking that you would make a useful pawn. But I was wrong. And for my misstep did La Habrea and Emet-Selch pay the ultimate price, leaving me the last of the Unsundered. My remaining brethren, fragmented as they are, cannot hope to see our mission to its end. It falls to me alone. Defeat is not an option. I will strike you down. I will resurrect Lord Zodiark, and I will bring back those who sacrificed themselves to call him forth. Though it take 1,000 years, upon my honor as Elidibus, emissary of the Convocation of 14, I will see this done. What of it? I have my mission. I am Elidibus, and it is my duty to steer mankind and the very star upon their true course. This I swore to someone. We spoke, and I swore. What? What did I... This pain, this torment, is nothing. No more than must be suffered to deliver the world from its doom. For my people, for our world, I will strike you down. No, I cannot fail. I will not. Fool! You have achieved nothing. I am immortal, yet I will never surrender.
Elidibus, So fixated were you on my memories of the future, you failed to heed the lessons of the past. Your obsession blinded you to the true nature of this tower, this beacon of hope for man. I concede I may have overexerted myself. Steady now and listen. I told you before that I had a plan, and that when all is said and done, I would ask a favor of you. We have averted the 8th Umbral Calamity, found a way for everyone to return to the source, and, last but not least, we have secured the future of all the people of Norvrand. We have won, my friend. So, I hope you'll forgive me this moment of selfishness, and while I wouldn't want you to feel obliged, promise me you'll take me on your next adventure. A journey. Together. That's all I ask. If I were to tell you that this isn't the end, that we will meet again, would you believe me? Thank you. My friend, with you, my mind and memory shall travel to the ends of the world and beyond. But in this place shall my body stand immovable. May it serve as an undying promise, not only to those who look to me for leadership, but to any soul who has known despair, that hope is everlasting.
the Exarch would remain, keeping his silent vigil. When the Scions were not released from his summoning spell, we proceeded with the plan to return them to the Source. The Warrior of Darkness, however, retained her ability to traverse the two worlds at will. And in time, the Crystal Tower became a symbol of her link to the First, and of hope.
Yours is a long road, my friend, and it stretches onto places beyond imagining. With your every step, these grand adventures shall grow more distant and faint. And there may come a day when you forget the faces and voices of those you have met along the way. On that day, I bid you remember this. That no matter how far your journey may take you, you stand where you stand by virtue of the road you walked to get there. For in times of hardship, when you fear you cannot go on, the joy you have known, the pain you have felt, the prayers you have whispered and answered, they shall ever be your strength and your comfort.
What is it, Alisaie? Are you all right? Do you still feel under the weather?
Physically, I couldn't be better. Thanks to Kryle's ministrations, I'm already looking forward to our next fight. But seriously, don't you have anything to say about that?
No less impressive than our garments. You've outdone yourself, Tataru.
To give credit where it's due, I had help from a certain fiery pixie who visited me in my dreams. They gave me all the information I needed to get the details just right. For your weapons, though, I needed a lot more help. Thankfully, our favorite heads of state were happy to place their finest craftsmen at my exclusive disposal. Oh, and speaking of the Alliance leaders, they all expressed their unreserved elation at your safe return, and promise to come and see you in person as soon as they can.
They really needn't have gone to such trouble. But we'll be keeping these gifts all the same. Do pass on our gratitude.
I realise we haven't taken up new martial arts, nor have I ever been one to set much store by appearances. But I can't help feeling a certain lack of, I don't know, personal development.
I quite understand. But as you observed, the others had the more pressing need. Rest assured, our turn will come.
If I expend any more ether, I swear I will blink out of existence. I need a bite to eat. Tataru, a cup of tea, if you would be so kind. And something sweet.
By Mistress Kryle's exhausted state, may I assume that the ward hath been restored?
Indeed. We succeeded in weaving it anew, albeit at a slightly diminished potency than when I had Beck-Lug's assistance. It is no cause for concern, though. The tower is not easily reached, never mind breached. And even should some few succeed, their presence won't escape my notice.
Excellent. Said duty thus discharged, thou art free to go wheresoever thy fancy taketh thee. Upon which note, hast thou perchance come to a decision? The offer remaineth open.
Well, if you're certain that's what you... I mean, if you think I... Right. I accept. Henceforth, I shall count myself a scion of the Seventh Dawn. Grahatia, at your service. When I was a boy, many long years ago, I yearned to stand tall as the heroes of Eld. But, like a fool, seeking to pluck the stars from the heavens, my every attempt to reprise their deeds fell short.
Help! Somebody help! Hippogriffs! Hippogriffs on the rampage! A giant flock of them! Please, we need help!
I could do with a little rampage myself.
What? Now wait just a... Here we go again.
I will join the fray when I've finished my tea.
Thus did the Avatar of Destruction descend, and in her wake leave naught but tears and ash.
And then, one day, an all but forgotten dream from my youth stood before me, in the flesh.